At the time of recording, the Sacramento Kings are currently 3rd in the Western Conference. Now, being a Kings fan and seeing stuff like this is so fucking insane. Words cannot describe how amazing that is. And it seems like we have finally entered a new era when it comes to the Sacramento Kings. An era full of hope, wins, teamwork, and obviously the beam. But I feel like a lot of people who are seeing the Kings for the first time this year don't really know what it was like to be a Kings fan these previous years. No! If there's one big event that a lot of people do know about, it would be the Tyrese Haliburton and Domantas Sabonis trade. I think we can all look back on this trade and say it doesn't shock the league like it did back then. No, I promise you, Woj wasn't the only one who thought the trade was bad at the time.
Stunned. The league is stunned at this trade.
Let's go ahead and take a look at another NBA-related content creator, the Legend of Winning, who has voiced his opinion many times when it comes to the Sabonis trade and how he thinks it was a terrible idea. I'll just go ahead and show you guys a clip so you can see for yourself.
I like Sabonis. I really do. But the truth is this. He just doesn't impact the game in ways that is really conducive of winning basketball, especially at a level that will produce deep postseason runs. And if that's something that Sacramento really wants to do, this is not the player that you go get.
Now, I'm sure you guys can see how goofy this take looks, especially looking back on it now, but I'm not surprised that a Lakers fan had a bad take. And were there a lot of people in the NBA media that went from criticizing and hating on the Kings, especially for this trade, but obviously in years prior, who did a complete 180 when the team started winning and act like nothing happened and they've always been a fan of the Kings? I guess we can start off with Jalen Rose. When Tyrese and Sabonis originally got traded, Jalen Rose went on his podcast and had a couple of very bad and just completely incorrect takes. I'll go ahead and show you guys a couple of the clips right now.
This is malpractice.
But the reason why this makes it more head scratching is you're a free agent after this year. I'm the president of the Haliburton fan club.
Yeah. Should the league have stepped in? I'm being dead serious.
No. Because they'll maintain Sabonis' bird rights. They probably figure that they can sign and trade him if he doesn't want to stay there, which now they'll have his cap relief, but they don't have the player. It's just a head-scratching move. I agree with you. But I'm happy for Haliburton because he's going to be in Indy and they're going to be balling.
If you're the Kings, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get up to the 10th spot to lose in the play-in? It's like, is that the goal? Is that the plan?
Oh, boy.
Even though I did make a full video about this interview, it is still insane to look back on and see how stupid his takes were. Like I said, though, it's okay to be shocked when this trade first happened. Everyone was. But after looking at the trade and seeing what both teams needed, it kind of started to make sense for the Kings. The Kings, who have a 25-year-old De'Aaron Fox, who, by the way, is only 3 years older than Tyrese. He's not that much older. They both couldn't coexist on the court. If you watch the 2 years that they were both playing together, it was just not good. They were gonna trade one of those players. And you might be thinking, well, why did they trade Fox? Tyrese is a better player. And that's because around this time, Fox wasn't really having a great year. Like, he was having a decent year, just not the best. So it made more sense for them to trade the guy with the higher trade value to get the better player. But with that being said, I don't want to get too much into the trade details because it's kind of old news. But the funny part about Jalen Rose going through and saying all this stupid stuff a year ago is that just recently, De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis went on NBA Today, which is the show that Jalen Rose is actually an analyst for. So he had to stand there on the court looking like a complete goofball while breaking down plays that the very successful team has been running all year. Not to mention they went over and lit up a fake little beam that was very corny and very cringy, but we'll move on from that. Now, a lot of Kings fans believe that when you're in the NBA media and you've hated on the Kings before, you can no longer like them. You lose all ability to enjoy the team when they become good. This is something I completely disagree with. I feel like when you're in such a high spot in the NBA media, there are right ways to go about being wrong in certain situations. Whether you thought it was a bad trade, whether you thought there was a bad signing from a team, and you turn out to be wrong, you can make up for that. Someone who I personally think handled this situation pretty good, not the best, but pretty good, is JJ Redick. Now, JJ Redick is hated by most Kings fans, which is very understandable, counting that he hated on the team his entire career. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys his original reaction to the trade.
This is some form of malpractice on the Kings' part. This is some form of malpractice. Tyrese Haliburton has been the best player on that team.
I am going to cut it off right here and just say that Fox was the better player in both the years with Tyrese. Tyrese was never the best player on the team.
Tyrese really is my guy. He was determined to turn things around and be part of that rebuild in Sacramento. I know he's shocked right now, but they traded away their best player. They also traded away one of the most prolific three-point shooters. They've got one guy on that roster right now shooting over 33% from the three-point line in Harrison Barnes. De'Aaron Fox can't shoot. Sabonis can't shoot.
I'm going to cut off the three-point shooting problem here and say that things have changed over time. The Kings now have Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, they have Keegan Murray, who can all really shoot the three. Then again, that's hindsight. I'm not using that as like a point against JJ Redick.
So you're building a team around two non-shooters with a bunch of non-shooters. Make it make sense, Zach. Make it make sense.
So even with that terrible reaction of the trade, he still went on his podcast recently and finally gave the Kings their flowers.
Because they're playing so damn well, and that's the Sacramento Kings. Very fun group to watch.
Extremely fun.
The
beam is
beaming.
lit up.
It's interesting. You said they're third in offense. I actually basically say they're first. Very good chance that this team has home court advantage in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs.
It's amazing. It's just amazing for the sport.
It's amazing for their fan base.
Yeah.
I tweeted this out. If they have one of the best fan bases in the NBA. This is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2006. Like, their fans deserve this.
In the podcast, they go very in-depth, and I think that there's too much to put in this video, so if you want to watch the full thing, I'll have the link down below. So moral of the story is if you're in the NBA media and you have a bad take previously, own up to it and don't be a fucking pussy and run away from your take. Now, there's one last thing I want to go over, and it's not about an analyst or a bad take. It's about the NBA national TV schedule. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up of the Pacific Division right now, and now I'm going to tell you guys how many nationally televised games each one of these teams have left. Starting off with the Phoenix Suns and Clippers, who both have 12 games left. The Lakers have 14, the Warriors have 15, and the number one in the Pacific Division, Sacramento Kings, they have 0 nationally televised games left in the rest of the season. And let's get this out of the way here. They only had 1 nationally televised game. Out of their entire season, they only had 1. As we all know, this is the Nets versus Kings game where the Kings just went on fire and killed the Nets. Even after that performance, the NBA decided to remove one of the Kings nationally televised games and give it to the G League Phoenix Suns against the Warriors. Crazy. When making this video, I didn't really plan on dick riding the Kings so hard, but you know what? After being a fan for so long, I just had to let it all out. And I'm glad the team is finally getting the flowers. With that being said, if you're a Kings fan yourself, let me know down below how long you guys have been suffering for, because I know it feels great right now. And if you're just now becoming a Kings fan, or you really just enjoy the team, I am very happy for you. I am very happy. I've absolutely loved seeing how many fans have joined over to see the Kings and watch our team this year and really show love. It's really cool. With that being said, though, if you want to see my reaction to the entire Jalen Rose podcast, I'll have the video up on the screen for you guys to go watch. But before you do that, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot more than you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.